For over 55 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by the Georgia Farm Bureau in association with Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College.
Ray D, Jennifer P back in action, and hey, that's already reason to celebrate, especially for me, because last week just wasn't the same without her. But what really cranks up the special meter, yes, we get to spend the next 30 minutes with you.
And trust us, you picked the perfect time to tune in. Coming up, it feeds on live flesh and is getting closer to U.S. borders. The dreaded screwworm is back on the radar, and producers are being urged to stay alert. From Florida traffic to mountain tranquility, how one family traded noise for nature and built a sheep farm full of flavor, charm, and purpose.
And then later, she grew up surrounded by chickens, but it's the golf course where she's now making her mark. You're going to get an up-close personal look at Jenny Bae, the daughter of Georgia poultry farmers who's turning heads on the women's professional golf tour with the lessons she learned from life living on a farm. These stories and so much more starting right now.
It's creepy, costly, and is making a comeback. The new World Screworm, a destructive pest once wiped out in the U.S., is back on the radar, this time just south of the border in Mexico. And that's got Georgia ag officials on high alert. John Holcomb explains why livestock producers need to pay close attention.
It's a pest many producers today have only heard stories about, but it without a doubt is one that left its mark on the livestock industry 60 years ago before it was eradicated. Its name, the New World Screworm, a fast-spreading parasitic fly that lays larvae that feed on an animal's open wounds and hinder animal production.
It really affected our production practices. So we had to do things like shift calving, dehorning, castration, things like that to the cooler months when the fly was not active. Because what the New World Screworm really likes is wounds, okay? It's a maggot that feeds on live tissue. So these flies, they live to lay eggs on the edge of wounds. Those eggs then develop into maggots that will burrow into the wound, I know, to feed off of live tissue. And the estimates are at this point, that if we had an incursion of New World Screworm, it could cost livestock producers around $1 billion a year to respond to and control and eradicate.
Although there are no current U.S. cases, there have been a number of detections in Mexico recently that have put officials here in the state and across the country on high alert.
Back at the end of last year, the end of 2024, USDA notified us of a case of New World Screworm in a cow in southern Mexico. And since that time, Mexico has reported over 1,400 detections of New World Screworm. And so, of course, as it moves further north in Mexico, it increases the likelihood that we would have a detection in the U.S.
Hannibal says if it were to happen here, it would have a significant impact to the livestock industry, from health and productivity losses on the farm to wider implications on the industry overall.
Immediately, for our livestock producers, it will affect not only animal health, but obviously your productivity. Animals that have these big wounds that are infested with New World Screworm, it decreases their production, they don't gain weight, they don't want to eat. So you'll see kind of immediate impacts just to the overall health of your herd and your productivity. And then as we expand out, what's going to happen is parts of the state where we had a detection, that basically becomes kind of a quarantine area where we're going to work to try to eradicate the fly from that region.
Hannibal says that it's important producers know what to look for, especially as we enter into the warmer months, as early detection is key to stopping the pest in its tracks.
We want to look for any type of a wound. It could be as small as a tick bite. Try to get a little closer inspection. If you see maggots and you are comfortable to do so with a pair of forceps, you can pull them out. You just put them in rubbing alcohol, call us immediately. We will have them identified at no cost to you. We know from our experience with other high consequence diseases like avian influenza that early reporting is absolutely critical. So we really need you to keep eyes on your cattle this summer, all of your livestock, your farm dogs, what have you. If you see something unusual, if you see a wound that has a large number of maggots, please call us. we will gladly send someone out to collect samples and get them identified.
Reporting in Atlanta for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Between the hay rides, farm tours, and general store selling fresh, locally raised lamb, it's no wonder why Crest Creek Sheep Farm in Ellijay keeps visitors coming back. Damon Jones takes a look at their unique story and why it is truly a family business.
After paying a visit to the Blue Ridge Mountains from Florida, Lee Forbes and his family knew they wanted to live there. What they would do for a living, however, was much less certain. But thanks to a simple question, inspiration finally struck.
So we had kids that were just coming out of high school and asked them what they wanted to do with their futures. And our son Hayden said he wanted to be a farmer. So this is really set up as a namesake for him.
And so begins the story of Crest Creek's Sheep Farm, where taking that road less traveled has not only resulted in this new family-run operation, but also a way of life they wouldn't have any other way.
I enjoy the peace. I don't have traffic, I don't have kids yelling at me, I don't have people, honking and things. I just absolutely love the animals and feeding them every morning. And they get to know you, they become your friends. So I absolutely enjoy that.
It is a daily experience, I'll say that for sure. So we're here all day, but it's different when you work, when you wake up and you want to come to work. So doing something you love, it's not a challenge to get out of bed in the morning.
That year-round commitment, along with very specific breeding, is what gives this lamb its distinct taste compared to the meat being shipped in from around the world.
You'll find the wool production cheaper in most of the meat products that are imported. So they have natural oil production of lanolin that coats that wool, and that often will give the meat a much stronger, gamier flavor. So we've chosen to have an American breed of sheep out of Vermont. It's a hair sheep, so like your dog, it sheds, but it doesn't have that oil production and leads to a much milder taste, a lot less gamey, more steak-like.
Because of that, foot traffic in their farm store has more than doubled over the past year as visitors are treated to a wide array of locally sourced products.
We carry our lamb, of course, and then we carry pork, chicken, and beef, and then we do all of our in-house baking. We carry local wines and honeys, a lot of handmade gifts and goodies from local merchants and other farmers in the area.
Supporting local ag and educating guests on what goes into raising sheep is the reason this operation offers farm tours, hay rides, and a quarterly farm-to-table dinner. It's a behind-the-scenes look that is really a highlight for the owners.
I think that's probably one of my favorite things because we did this for families. We didn't do it just for our family. We do the corn maze and the Easter egg hunt and the Christmas activities solely for families. So when they come out and they say they want their kids to see sheep and they get to hold those baby lambs, that's definitely something amazing.
Yeah, see kids today and families that don't get to spend time together. So having a place that they can come and make memories, that's important.
Reporting from Ellijay, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
From her childhood on a Georgia poultry farm to the fairways of the LPGA Tour, Jenny Bae's journey combines gratitude and the power of family dedication. We'll show you how her parents' hard work helped launch her into the spotlight. That's next.
U-Garden is more than just a farm. It's a community. Built by and for students in 2010, U-Garden connects students' passions to the university's neighbors and the planet. Students earn class credits while learning to grow organic food and herbs in a way that honors and protects the environment through sustainable farming practices. In addition to the hands-on education students receive in the field, U-Garden also fosters an entrepreneurial spirit. Each week, students have the opportunity to sell the organic produce and herbs they grow at an on-site farmers market. But U-Garden isn't just for students. There are full-time employees and student workers who rely on U-Garden for their livelihood. Since 2010, hundreds of volunteers have contributed more than 42,000 hours of their time to keep UGarden running. Over time, UGarden has evolved to be so much more than just a place for students to learn while getting their hands dirty. The accomplishments extend far beyond the farm. Because at UGarden, sustainable food systems aren't just about environmentally friendly farming practices. It's also about ensuring that everyone has access to healthy food. UGarden partners with the UGA Student Food Pantry and the Campus Kitchen at UGA to provide fresh produce to students and Athens area residents who are struggling with food insecurity. Since 2010, UGarden has donated over 100,000 pounds of produce for distribution to the Athens area community. But now, UGarden needs you. It's time to give back to this space that has given so much to the Athens area and beyond. Please consider supporting UGarden through service or donations so this thriving campus community can continue to educate our students and nourish our world.
Let's be honest, dreams don't always start under bright lights or on big stages. Sometimes they begin on a quiet farm with chores before sunrise and a golf club in hand. That's the story of Georgia's Jenny Bae, the daughter of dedicated poultry farmers who traded in her boots for golf spikes and is now turning heads in a rookie season on the LPGA Tour, the pinnacle of women's professional golf. From the fields of small-town Georgia to fairways around the world, Jenny is proving that hard work and a whole lot of drive can take you just about anywhere. Growing up surrounded by the clucks of chickens, as well as the sights and sounds of fairways and putting greens, Jenny Bae's childhood was anything but ordinary. Her parents, Peter and Hannah, work long days in their poultry houses to keep their farm running, a demanding job that requires round-the-clock attention and countless early mornings. Their commitment, however, wasn't just to keep their farm afloat, but to support Jenny's dream of someday playing on one of golf's biggest stages.
No amount of respect could possibly define the amount of respect that I have for my parents. I mean, you know, as you know, it takes a lot of time and effort to raise chickens and, you know, do it, and it's their job. And, you know, I was just grateful enough that they took the time out and, you know, take me to practice and take me to tournaments, which meant, you know, leaving the house and this property for about a day or so. And, you know, it meant a lot, and I feel like I'm starting to realize that more as I grow up than what I actually felt when I was younger. But you know, they do great work here, and they've been doing that for over a decade. And so, you know, I have tremendous respect for them.
All right, so I know what you're thinking. How does a farm kid from Georgia, surrounded by chicken houses and fields, find a passion for something so far removed from the farm, such as the game of golf? Well, for Jenny, it started at a very young age.
Both my parents started golf way before I was born. They grew to enjoy the golf and just love it. And when I was 3, they gave me a club, a plastic club, and be like, "Hey, here's a ball. You want to, you know, have fun with it?" I'm like, "Okay." So I started hitting balls in my backyard, and you know, I would lose the balls, but just the fact that I made contact was just completely satisfying for me. But after, you know, they realized like, oh, maybe she does have somewhat potential. You know, they would take me to golf courses 20, 30 minutes out. And, you know, it was just a lot of fun, but it took a lot of effort for them to even, you know, take the time out and drive me out to 35 to an hour long drive just to go to a decent golf course.
Jenny's hard work both on the farm and the golf course eventually paid off. After high school, she attended the University of Georgia, where her name became synonymous with excellence in collegiate golf. In 2023, she won the prestigious Julie Inkster Award, an honor given to the top senior collegiate female golfer in the nation. She finished her college career as a 3-time All-American, set multiple school records, and was runner-up at the 2023 Augusta National Women's Amateur Championship, an accomplishment that solidified her as one of the most promising players in the sport. All of it leading to the crown jewel, a spot on the LPGA Tour, which resulted in Jenny's partnership with Wayne Sanderson Farms, the nation's third largest poultry producer.
They've been such great partners with my family, and they treated my family with so much respect, and they guided my parents, and I felt like when they came up to me and presented me with this idea that, hey, how would you like it if we helped you a little bit in pursuing your dream, and I've never felt so much happier. Like, it not only tells me that my parents have worked so hard for this, and I feel like in one way, like, it's the Wayne Sanderson Farms way of appreciating what my parents have done for them and with them for years and years, and I feel like I felt really grateful.
But even as her career continues to skyrocket, Jenny hasn't forgotten her roots. Every trophy, every round of golf, a testament to her parents' sacrifices back on the farm. Their dedication allowed her to chase her dreams, even when the odds seemed insurmountable. Jenny admits that while golf might be her passion, the lessons of grit and perseverance come from watching her parents work tirelessly to provide her with the opportunities they never had.
The fact is that I wouldn't have started the game of golf if it weren't for my father, or if my mom didn't bring that golf club out that day. And yes, I do play golf for myself, and I've come to slowly understand that the really, really hard way, but I feel like at the same time I owe my parents a lot, and just how far I've become, like how far I've come out. I feel like I couldn't have done it without them, so they'll always be there.
As she prepares to compete on the biggest stage in women's golf, Jenny carries with her the strength and determination instilled by her parents' sacrifices. For the Bae family, it's a dream come true. Not just for the young golfer, but for the hard-working poultry farmers who made her success possible. Yeah, Jenny's already making waves in her rookie season. She recently secured a runner-up finish at a tournament in Mexico, and with over $326,000 in career earnings, Jenny is proving that her journey from Georgia's poultry farms to the professional golf circuit is just the beginning of an inspiring story. So, how can fire, a force of destruction, become a precise tool to protect our land? Well, coming up, the science behind prescribed burns and why they're key to managing wildfires and saving habitats.
Jennifer Parson back with you on the Farm Monitor. There's something exciting coming out of ABAC. It's called The Paddock, a brand new student-produced news program that's giving voice to the next generation of agricultural storytellers. From Campus Live to major ag events, these students are covering it all. And now you can follow along by checking out their YouTube page. You just might see a story like this one from Hannah Fletcher.
Drones are changing the way farmers approach precision agriculture. With the ability to launch within minutes, these high-tech tools offer rapid response times and high-resolution imaging.
Drones are the most reactive, right? So we can get a drone out in a matter of minutes. My little Mavics and DJIs that I fly, and I can fly in mapping them, I can have it in the air in under 10 minutes, under 5 minutes. My big fixed wing, I can have it in the air in less than 10 minutes. And it's flying, I can fly hundreds of acres in a flight, getting a pixel for every centimeter.
The level of detail is unmatched, but it comes at a cost. Unlike satellites or planes that can scan thousands of acres in a single pass, drones require a dedicated pilot and observer, making coverage more expensive per acre.
The drones have a great play in small patches, right? So you could have helicopters or planes run. The drone's footprint is in the small patches where maybe the helicopters can't get to evenly or quickly, or wet ground. Maybe it just rained and you really need to get a fungicide on, and the helicopters are too busy because they're running other people's ground, right? And so that's where your benefit lies.
And as drone technology evolves, the scale of operations is growing.
I got to meet a group a couple months ago that has a drone that will carry 50 gallons of water and is powered by diesel engines. It's huge. I mean, we are not far from a helicopter. It's very close to an autonomous helicopter on that volume. And so what we're doing is increasing volume, increasing size.
But experts caution that technology should serve a purpose, not just be adapted for the sake of innovation.
Don't see a technology as a hammer and just bang away at everything you see. My recommendation is always have a problem or have something you want to be more efficient and find the proper tool. We're often just jumping into tools and not having a plan.
With increasing accessibility, drones are becoming a standard tool in modern farming, helping growers make smarter, faster, and more precise decisions.
Finally this week, fire is one of nature's most powerful forces, but when managed carefully, it can also be one of land management's most effective tools.
Yeah, across the country, agencies like USDA are using prescribed burns not only to reduce fire risk, but to better understand how fire shapes the landscape. The goal, build a solid scientific foundation for landowners, livestock producers, and conservationists to use fire more effectively and safely.
Prescribed fires are kind of like the name denotes. You're writing out essentially a prescription to apply a treatment using fire. And the motivation in some cases is to mimic the natural fire cycle with something that humans go ahead and start on purpose to make a change on the landscape. And usually that involves a fairly lengthy process of essentially writing out that prescription. What do we want to do? What needs to be burned? What needs to happen to get the results we want to get out of a prescribed fire? There's similar concerns with prescribed fire as there is with wildfire in that it's somewhat uncontrollable. You have influences the terrain and the wind and things like that can cause fire intensity to be really higher and therefore cause resource damage. There's also potential for fire to just do something unexpected and say damage the hydrology, wildlife habitat, or forages, just because we don't fully understand the system itself. We're studying prescribed fire in the western juniper type landscapes because western juniper is a challenge. It's both a native species and an invader into the system, and it can potentially impact an endangered species like sage grouse, and it can also influence livestock forages and therefore ag productivity on these systems. So we're studying all three of those things. A critical thing is just looking at whether prescribed fires is an effective tool, because we need a scientific foundation for that tool to be able to effectively use it. My main goal is to better understand the ecosystem itself and how it will respond to prescribed fire. There's so much complexity in a natural system or one that's become somewhat unnatural because of human influence. There's just so many factors. So better understanding and synthesis of that understanding so that when we approach a system that needs treatment with prescribed fire, we can better predict the outcome. And so my hope is that the research becomes robust and applicable to a much larger area, and then becomes a really solid scientific foundation for managers as well as private landowners and livestock ranchers to be able to pick up this information and use it.
Our thanks to USDA for that. More importantly, thank you for making our jobs worthwhile.
For Ray and everyone here at the show, stay safe, and we'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Have a great week.